You'll never shake this song. You realize that, Moon Zappa, don't you?
Now, no longer Moon Unit, just Moon?
My name has always been Moon. Unit's my middle name. There's no hyphen in my name.
You know what I think? Just hearing the whole thing together, Moon Unit, I think that was just easy for people to accept, you know? Just go with Moon Unit. Moon Unit instead of Moon. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure you've been asked it a million times, but did you ever ask your dad about what was up with the unit? Because Moon is actually a very cool name, I think. I think it's a beautiful
name. Unit is because I'm the first kid, and we became a family unit when I was born.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
I know. It's a mushy sentiment.
Very
my
nice.
middle name. Mm-hmm.
You still live out in L.A.?
I do. I live in Los Angeles.
I know you've got a book out now, and this is your first foray into the writing field.
Actually, it's my first novel. I've been doing lots of journalism for quite a few years, actually.
Right. Is that how you've been kind of, spending your time supporting yourself is through journalism?
That's how you try to support yourself. But actually, during the process of writing my book, I had to rely on my musician boyfriend. There's a first.
Oh, wow.
A woman relying on her musician boyfriend and on my mother, actually, for some financial assistance.
Who was your boyfriend? Anybody we'd know?
I don't know.
Isn't it Paul from Matchbox 20?
It is.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Well, there you go. Gee, I think I've heard of that.
He's a bite-sized drummer.
He's a very
bite-sized drummer.
He's a very, very nice guy.
Yeah, and I think I've heard of that band from somewhere. Apparently, I mean, they've sold a few albums, yeah?
I guess they get a little bit of radio play every now and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now
can I tell you, you cannot go anywhere. I mean, seriously, it's enough to go on tour and visit him, but then when you go to buy a bagel or you go to,
Isn't that weird? Because I just walked into a mall in Phoenix yesterday and Bent was playing over the entire system of the whole mall.
Oh, yeah. And then karaoke, always a favorite choice, a Matchbox 20 song.
But, Moon, do people recognize the drummer in Matchbox 20 on the street?
They sometimes do, actually.
Yeah.
And in the Midwest, forget about it.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
We met through a friend.
What's your favorite Matchbox 20 song?
The one that Paul wrote, Stop.
Stop. Mm-hmm. Hey, who was...
It's the most speed metal, because that's my thing. I like Pantera.
Oh, do you really? All right.
Why not?
Your dad would be proud.
Yeah, you like to rough it up.
Frank would be proud. Hey, who was, growing up, who was the strangest cat that ever crossed your living room?
That's hard to say. I mean, there were so many oddballs in my household growing up, but I do remember a guy coming to the house. People would know him as, I can't think of his name right now because it's 5 o'clock in the morning where I am. Don Van Vliet, and I cannot think of what his actual name is. People are going to be flipping out. They're going to be pulling off the road in their cars. Why doesn't you know them?
You're
anyway,
right.
He drilled a pencil hole in his nose with a pencil. He drilled a little hole in his nose so he could whistle.
What?
Out of his nose.
His real name is Don Van something?
Don Van Vliet, and I cannot believe, I seriously have a brain freeze, and I'm sure my father's fans are going to seriously call in, be so angry that I don't know.
Right, because your dad's fans, like, they know every detail about his life.
Oh, beyond. And when they've come to book readings, they've asked me questions like, do you know who the real Susie Cream Cheese is? Things like this. And I say, no, sir, I do not.
Were you into his music?
I like his instrumental stuff. I mean, when you're growing up and your dad's singing about body parts and yours aren't fully developed, you get a little bit shy. I mean, it's normal. Like anybody, they're not going to be so interested in what their dad does. Do you have kids? Do they love what you do?
Right. No, that's an excellent point.
You want to act? I mean, you look great on screen.
Well, thank you very much. No, I'm committed to writing. I really enjoy being the boss of the universe. When you're writing, you get to be the director, the actor, the producer, the set designer. You're doing everything, and so you create universes. It's more fun.
Were you bummed that you weren't cast in, or even asked to be in, or I don't know if you were or not, Valley Girl when they did that movie? Because that song, I mean, yeah.
I was not bummed. In fact, my father was asked to go to a screening of it to see if they'd be interested in letting them use the song, and he saw the film and he didn't enjoy it. He passed on it.
Really? I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, it was just like those movies are. I mean, it's just candy. It's nothing.
I mean, he was a big fan of movies. He just didn't have any information for him, I guess.
Talking to Moon Unit Zappa.
Moon
Zappa.
Yes.
How are Dweezil and Amit, your brothers, doing?
They're doing quite well.
Do you see them often?
I do. I see them all the time.
I enjoyed that show.
And I saw my sister Diva last night, too.
Did Dweez get married?
He did not, but he's going out with Lisa Loeb. And,
yeah,
that's right.
He tours with her, and she has an album coming out. And He
Didn't-
co-wrote a bunch of songs on it.
Didn't you do some writing too for like Interview Magazine and?
Have I?
Yes.
I've done a ton of stuff. Yeah, I write. I do freelance stuff all the time for all those fancy magazines.
Now, your book is out when?
It's actually out now. It's called America the Beautiful.
You are quoted as saying that your new novel is 17.2% autobiographical.
Yeah, I don't want to mislead people into thinking that it's about me growing up. When I say that, I basically am referring to the fact that I've set this girl who's love obsessed in a world where she's the daughter of a famous person, and that was just a way for me to make an old story interesting, because I thought maybe somebody would like to know what it's like growing up in a famous household and how annoying that can be.
Why did you want to write a novel? That just seems like so much work.
Because I love reading and I love words, and I think books are fun. I don't know. There's just something.
She's a writer, Jimmy.
That does seem
I know.
hard.
Just to me, it would seem like journalism would be not easier, but more because you're constantly changing subject matter, and it's more refreshing.
Yeah, but you know what? When you're doing journalism, you're focusing on somebody else's ideas, and then after a while, you're like, I'm just as interesting as that person I just interviewed, and my thoughts are worth writing down. So I don't know. You just you get a little courage one day, and you start writing.
Hey, Moon, what was that show that your brother had on USA? That Amit, what was that game show?
Happy Hour, that show.
I love that show.
Yeah, that was a great show. Watching celebrities get drunk and sing.
That was beautiful. And then some hair band would show up, like Rat or somebody to play.
Oh, incredible! I love that show.
That was fun.
Had you ever,
especially because they never went to college, and so that was like going to college.
did you ever go through a period in your life, Moon Zappa, when you were you wanted to be the rebellious teen and maybe like not use your dad's name because you wanted to not be associated with the fame of Frank Zappa and
I definitely went through a phase of wanting to be rebellious, but there was really nothing to rebel against. When you're given total freedom, you're really floating in outer space. Like, what can I do if everything's acceptable? What can I do?
Yeah, how can you rebel?
So you never resented the fact that for a long time people just knew you as Frank Zappa's daughter.
Well, there's nothing I could do about that. In fact, it was the only hilarious thing that happened. I was thinking, okay, finally, I've got a book out. Now people will finally. Maybe I can be as famous as my name, or be known for something that I do instead of just being born.
Yeah.
And of course, then the whole thing just erupted, and I thought this is very typical.
Thank you,
Enjoy
Moon
it.
Zappa.
America the
Thanks for
Beautiful.
having me.
A pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
That is Moon Zappa.
The Morning X. 99X.